Warning! Kinda Murdery contains adult themes, explicit language, and descriptions of violence. It is not suitable for anyone, and we recommend you stop listening now.
True crime with a dash of the paranormal, the garish, the strange, and the darkly comic. I'm Zevin Odelberg, host of Kinda Murdery, a podcast that's about more than just murder. It's my very own pocket dimension, home to a curated collection of bizarre and compelling stories. The unsolved, the unsettling, and the unbelievable. I cover it all, just so long as it's kinda murdery. That's right, folks. Intro me speaks nothing but the truth. I am Zevin Odelberg, and this is Kinda Murdery. You have found your way to Part 3 of The Daylight Cat Burglar. That's right, I said Part 3, so if you haven't heard Parts 1 and 2 yet, then go back and listen to them. Then rejoin us, we'll save you a seat. If you're all caught up, then what I'm about to present to you is Pipino's third version of his story of the Madonna theft. A version that he shares back in 2014 while incarcerated in Venice. And it's quite a story. I invite you to please join me as we uncover what truths we can and solve what mysteries we may. The Daylight Cat Burglar, Pipino and the Madonna Bambino Part 3 starts now. In the cheery ambiance of the prison visiting room, Vincenzo Pipino, the seasoned art thief now turned inmate, sat contemplating his next move. He gently tapped the side of his espresso cup, a thoughtful gesture that hinted at his strategic mind. Breaking the silence with a caveat, he leaned forward and said, "This is a hypothetical story," emphasizing that the tale he was about to unfold might blur the lines between fact and fiction, a hallmark of his storytelling style. His disclaimer set the stage for a narrative that, true or not, promised to be as intriguing and layered as Pipino's life journey. Mala del Brenta mafia boss Felice Maniero, often referred to as Angel Face, chose to build his mansion not in a luxurious neighborhood but rather in his hometown of Campolongo Maggiore, a small farming community located about 20 miles west of Venice. The construction of this mansion, which began in 1979 and took 3 years to complete, resulted in a unique architectural design. The house was notable for its unconventional structure, featuring wide angles and polygonal bedrooms. It was equipped with bulletproof windows and an advanced water filtration system, a precautionary measure against potential poisoning attempts. Felice Maniero, known for his criminal pursuits, also harbored a deep appreciation for art. He reportedly acquired what were believed to be paintings by Renoir and Miro, although their authenticity as originals was uncertain. Nevertheless, these pieces served as sources of inspiration for him. Demonstrating his dedication to art, Maniero engaged Mario Schifano, a noted postmodernist collagist, as his personal art tutor. Surprisingly, Maniero exhibited considerable artistic talent, creating works that intriguingly blended chaos and balance. Despite his skill, his reputation as a criminal overshadowed his artistic endeavors, limiting recognition of his art primarily to his hometown, where it was occasionally displayed in the city hall of Campolongo Maggiore. In a scene straight out of a cinematic crime thriller, Pipino approached the heavily fortified estate of Felice Maniero. Upon arrival, he was greeted by a pair of guards armed with shotguns, a clear indication of the high security and potential danger that permeated Maniero's stronghold. The property itself was a testament to Maniero's eccentric and lavish tastes, featuring massive hedges and intriguing sculptures that adorned the grounds. Among these were a striking 7-foot-tall wishbone sculpture, and another that resembled an ancient Mayan astrological tool, adding a surreal and almost otherworldly feel to the environment. This setting underscored the blend of luxury and vigilant security that defined Maniero's realm, a backdrop that set the stage for Pipino's high-stakes meeting. In a tense, yet almost bizarrely friendly encounter, Vincenzo Pipino was welcomed by Felice Maniero himself at the smoked glass doors of his estate. The scene was charged with an undercurrent of both respect and caution. Maniero, known for his volatile nature, greeted Pipino with an embrace and kisses on both cheeks. a gesture that indicated a certain degree of familiarity and regard. Pipino, older and with an air of an elder statesman, reciprocated the pleasantries, although his casual demeanor belied his awareness of Maniero's recent brutal betrayal of the Rizzi brothers. The Rizzis were a rival gang that Maniero made peace with and then planned a joint operation with, but when the Rizzis showed up, Maniero's men gunned them all down. That's the betrayal that was on Pipino's mind. Also, Maniero's health issues, notably a severe case of acid reflux and his use of barbiturates for pain management, added an unpredictable element to his already complex personality. These factors, along with his underlying psychopathy, rendered Maniero's mindset difficult to read, a concern that did not escape Pipino's experienced eye. The descent into the basement where Maniero led Pipino was a journey into a strikingly different environment. The space they entered was adorned with dark wood paneling illuminated by lights designed to resemble pink, blue, and yellow flowers. The decor was an unusual blend that seemed like a teenage girl's idea of a bachelor pad, a sort of Austin Powers mod vibe, if you will, contrasting sharply with the serious and potentially dangerous nature of the meeting. This peculiar setting served as a backdrop for Maniero and Pipino's conversation, a mix of the whimsical and the grave, reflective of the complexities and contradictions in the world of organized crime, and in Maniero's mad Joker-esque mind in particular. In their meeting, Pipino and Maniero delved straight into discussing the stolen painting, the Madonna col Bambino. Pipino initiated the conversation, expressing his concern about the painting's condition and the potential repercussions if it were returned damaged. Maniero reassured him, saying, "It's in a shed behind my cousin's house. It's covered. Plus, it's guarded by my pets. No one will get to it." This response, while somewhat reassuring, left Pipino puzzled and a little worried, particularly at the mention of, quote, pets, unquote, guarding the artwork. Next, the conversation shifted to Maniero's legal issues, a topic Pipino could speak on with authority due to his extensive knowledge of the Italian legal system. They discussed the challenges posed by the special surveillance measures that Maniero was under. As their meeting drew to a close, Maniero expressed his gratitude for Pipino's involvement in the heist, indicating a sense of future obligation, saying to Pipino, "I appreciate the favor you did for me. I won't forget it," thereby reinforcing the complicated dynamics of their relationship. In his preparation for the recovery of the stolen Madonna from Maniero, Pipino undertook two critical errands. He first visited a skilled forger known as the Professor, who resided in the countryside. There, Pipino requested a creation of a replica of the Madonna painting. Understanding the urgency, the Professor agreed to take on the task with minimal questions asked. Pipino's second step was at a veterinarian's office, where he acquired animal tranquilizers. Anticipating the need to neutralize any guard dogs at Maniero's property, he obtained extra doses to ensure that he was well prepared for any situation that might arise. A week after his preparations, Pipino ventured into Campolongo Maggiore under the cover of a nearly full moon. It was around 10 at night, and the atmosphere was tense, especially considering Maniero's notorious history with the Brenta River. Pipino, carrying the imitation Madonna and a knapsack, was aware of the danger he was in. The darkness of the night and the flowing river, known for its grim association with Maniero, specifically the mob boss's tendency to dump bodies into the river, added an ominous feeling to Pipino's task. Despite the quality of the replica not being perfect, it was sufficiently convincing for his purposes. Pipino's reluctance was palpable, but the necessity of his mission drove him forward. His nerves on edge, Pipino approached the shed on Maniero's cousin's property under the cover of darkness. The quiet of the night was pierced by a sudden sight that sent a shiver down his spine, a shadow that seemed like a golden, shining leg, reminiscent of the fearsome Gamba d'Oro from his childhood. But as his eyes adjusted, the truth dawned on him. It wasn't a ghostly apparition, but rather a live, adult tiger. One of the few things in the world that is definitely even more terrifying than the ghostly nightmares from your childhood. Whispering an Italian F-word under his breath, Pipino cautiously approached the tiger with a piece of meat laced with tranquilizer. He carefully offered it to the magnificent beast, who, intrigued by the unexpected treat, consumed it rapidly. As Pipino waited anxiously for the tranquilizer to take effect, the intensity of the moment hung in the air, a stark reminder of both the precariousness of his mission and his own impending mortality. Inside the dimly lit shed, Pipino was acutely aware of the smells of fur and hay. He saw the outline of the large cat, and above in the rafters, he spotted the Madonna painting. Just as he was processing this, he heard a sound that resembled breathing. Uh-oh. His eyes adjusted to the darkness, revealing 2 more large, feline eyes staring back at him. It was another tiger. Pipino's heart raced, but he composed himself and whispered, "Ma che bel gattone, what a beautiful cat you are," admiring the majestic creature despite the danger. He cautiously took out another piece of meat, laced it with the tranquilizer, and offered it to the tiger. The animal ate it, and then watched him, its tail flicking. Pipino remained still, waiting for the tranquilizer to take effect. Finally, the tiger's eyes closed, and it drifted to sleep. With a sense of urgency, Pipino quickly grabbed the original Madonna painting and left the replica in its place. He was acutely aware that the tranquilized tigers might awaken at any moment, but they did not. Having successfully swapped the paintings, he cautiously stepped out of the shed, once again carrying the Madonna under his arm. Pipino then disappeared into the night, skillfully completing his audacious mission. In the prison visiting room, Pipino leaned back, a knowing smile on his face as he finished his story. "But there weren't really any tigers," he revealed. "I never stole the painting back." Claiming his own narrative was false was a twist ending that added another layer to the web of tales he spun, leaving the true events shrouded in mystery. Despite the dubious nature of his story, elements of it intersected with reality. Reports from Campolongo confirmed that Maniero owned 2 tigers and used his cousin's property for stashing stolen goods. In fact, in the mid-2010s, and perhaps even today, the property did become a tiger refuge owned by a magician. But supposedly the tigers didn't appear until 1999, some 8 years after Pipino's escapades, adding yet another layer of enigma to his story. The return of the Madonna painting on November 7, 1991 still remains an unsolved mystery. While Chief Palmosi of the Venice police credited Pipino with its return, the exact means of the painting's recovery remain unknown. There was also a claim about Maniero using the painting to establish credibility for a corrupt police officer on his payroll, possibly unknowingly returning a forgery. So in other words, this claim is that Maniero had turned a Venice police officer and gave that police officer the painting, so that the police officer could take credit for its return and thereby have his reputation and trustworthiness burnished. But nobody knows what the truth really is. At the close of prison visiting hours, Pipino summed up his perspective. Quote, "You see, everybody got what they wanted," unquote. In this intricate tapestry of truth and deception, each participant saw a different version of the events, leaving the ultimate truth known only to the master illusionist himself. On that pivotal day in November 1991, Pipino's casual entrance into the Venice police headquarters was a bold move, timed with the press conference announcing the Madonna's recovery. In the chief's office, the tension was palpable as Palmosi and Pipino faced each other. Palmosi's declaration, quote, "I'm still gonna catch you with my own hands," unquote, was met with a knowing smile from Pipino, signaling a renewal of their unique dynamic. Pipino's life of theft would go on, with Palmosi persistently on his trail. This unspoken agreement seemed to satisfy both men, encapsulating the essence of their long-standing rivalry and, let's face it, friendship. In Chief Palmosi's office, an elegant oversized book graced the desk. It was a photo collection of the masterpieces from the Ducale Palace, the very museum that the Madonna col Bambino had been stolen from by Pipino. This book was a thoughtful gift from the museum commemorating Palmosi's role in the successful recovery of the Madonna, and Palmosi thought the book would serve as a tasteful and permanent addition to his office, symbolizing his achievement in solving the high-profile case. Palmosi's reverie was interrupted by a lieutenant's knock, signaling the beginning of the press conference. Chief Palmosi and Pipino, each aware of their roles in this ongoing game of pursuit and evasion, cat and mouse, exchanged farewells, anticipating future encounters over other stolen treasures. They envisioned sharing a bottle of the season's new Chianti during their next meeting. Moments later, Palmosi stood confidently in front of the assembled reporters with 2 officers holding the Madonna painting. The room buzzed with the clicking of cameras and the rustling of notepads as journalists prepared to document the announcement of the painting's recovery. At the press conference, Chief Palmosi announced the recovery of the Madonna col Bambino, crediting an anonymous tip for the find. His demeanor was one of a triumphant hero, embodying the success of the police department in a high-profile case. But later, back at his office, Palmosi noticed something amiss. His commemorative book of the masterpieces of the Ducali Palace was gone. I'm Zevin Odelberg, and this has been Kinda Murdery.
If you like the show, please subscribe, review, and tell your friends. You can find us on social media at Kinda Murdery or email at kindamurdery@gmail.com.